نتهم من جمع المال وجمع الملايين، من حرام أو من حلال من سئلانين.
Now, before I get started, I wonder if the brother who was helping us last week about the Bitcoin is here. I think not, and a lot of people maybe haven't come in yet. But I listened back to that dialogue between myself and the brother, and I asked him, what's the Bitcoin? He said it's a ledger. Ledger means a record. So he defined it as a ledger, a record. That went over my head last week. I didn't catch it at the moment. So then he continued to talk, and among what he said was that by this ledger one would know who has owned the Bitcoin since the first owner. That means then the Bitcoin is different from the ledger. The Bitcoin is not the ledger, if that's the case. Or if the Bitcoin is the ledger, and by that ledger one would know who owns the Bitcoin, then it means that it's like saying the Bitcoin is the Bitcoin. If the ledger is the Bitcoin, and you use the ledger to keep a record of the Bitcoin, it's like saying the Bitcoin is the Bitcoin. Or it's like saying, the ledger is the ledger. You understand? In other words, when you put something into a possessive construction, like you say, for example, the Lord of the worlds, the messenger of Allah, this type of construction. If you say the book of Zayd, then when you have this type of construction, then both of those things are not the other. They have to be different from each other. Like when you say the Lord of the worlds, then the Lord can't be the worlds and the worlds can't be the Lord. If you say the messenger of Allah, then the messenger can't be Allah and Allah can't be the messenger. It would be like impossible because it doesn't work. If you say the book of Zayd, then the book is not Zayd and Zayd is not the book. So if someone says Bitcoin is a ledger, it's a ledger of the Bitcoin. It's a ledger of who owned the Bitcoin. Khalas, then it's not the Bitcoin. It can't be the Bitcoin is the ledger and that the ledger is a record of the Bitcoin. And then it's like saying the Bitcoin is the Bitcoin. Then it means, like I said, it doesn't exist actually then. So if the brother is here who was helping us, if I'm missing something, if you're here and you're listening, if I'm missing something, help us again. So what I'm saying is, it's not valid to say that the Bitcoin is a ledger. A ledger is a record. The Bitcoin is supposed to be the money. The ledger is going to be the record of the money. So the ledger can't be the money. It's a record of the money. So that can't be correct. I'm not saying the brother actually said wrong information. He could be saying what's correct according to the people who believe that. But the reality of it is that it's not correct. So was that clear, brothers and sisters, what I just mentioned here? That answer by itself, maybe someone else in the world has an answer different from what our brother gave us. But that answer there, the response to that answer would be then no. If you ask someone, what is Bitcoin? And he says it's a ledger or it's a record, then you say, no, that doesn't even make any sense. You're telling me that the money is the record. The record of what? So it doesn't work. Also, some other things that the brother mentioned. Inshallah, I'll go back and listen to that again. So, a few things in my mind that, when I think about this case, like, let's say someone makes beats, music, and then he saves that on a USB drive, a disk, a thumb drive. So what if he wanted to sell that beat on the thumb drive? He can't sell it because it's not something sellable. But what he could sell is the thumb drive with the beat on it. If someone was a beat maker and he wants to make money off of that, he can't sell beats. So then what should he sell? Like if he wants to make a beat and then put the file on a flash drive and then sell the flash drive for the amount that he wants. Not that he sells the beat for an amount and gives the flash drive for free. Right? Not that he sells the beat for what, $5,000 for example, and just gives them the flash drive for free like it's a plastic bag. When you go to the store and you buy your stuff and then they put your stuff in a bag, that bag that they give you amounts to a gift. Except some stores like Aldi's, they actually make you pay for the bag, which is valid. So if someone was making beats, he can't sell you the beat and then just give you the USB for free. Like that, that's not valid. But he can sell you the USB with the information on it for the amount. Like if he wants to sell a beat for $5,000, he puts the information on the USB and sells the USB for $5,000. And that's valid. You said, I think what he said is, it is a record of a transaction which lists everyone how much amount of Bitcoin one owns. Yes, something like that. I think you're right. But no matter what, it doesn't answer the question. This was an answer to the question, what is the Bitcoin? And his very first answer was, it's a ledger. That was his direct answer to my question. It's a ledger. Ledger means record. Then as he progressed in his explanation, he said what amounts to, it's a record of the transaction or record of who owns the Bitcoin. All of that means that actually the ledger is different from the Bitcoin. So again, I don't know if the brother's listening or what. I'm not actually like, don't get me wrong, I'm not refuting the brother or like putting him down or anything. I'm just taking the information he gave me. So what if someone asked you, tell me, what are golden coins? And then you said the golden coins, well, that's a record. No, it's not. The record is, the account of how much money you have or who you spent, like, the records that you keep for your business. So that's not your money. Your records is not your money. So that can't be right. Or I'll give you another example. Let's say someone had a gift card for Walmart or Best Buys or something. They had a plastic card, which is essentially a debit card. And let's say it says $50 Best Buy's debit card or gift card. $50 Best Buy gift card. So what if a person came to you and said, hey, look, I got this nice $50 Best Buy gift card. I'll sell you the $50. I'll sell that $50 to you. No, you can't do that. I'll sell you the $50 and you can just have the plastic card. So that doesn't work like that. So if you want to deal with Bitcoin, don't buy the Bitcoin itself. If you need to buy the apparatus that contains it, or buy something that has some monetary benefit or value, and then use that. And you put your deal on that thing. If it were on a USB drive, for example, buy the USB drive, don't buy the Bitcoin itself. And then benefit from whatever information might be on that USB drive. I know the brother said it's not on a USB. I'm just using easy words that we all know. I don't even know what's the other word he was talking about. In this age that we live in, internet and lots of virtual things, online things, brothers and sisters, don't let yourselves, don't let the line between reality, what's real and what's virtual be blurred for you. Like in the discussion about buying a ticket. If they're selling you, a download, that's not really a ticket. So say a virtual ticket if you want. You can say ticket, but always remember when it's not real, don't think about it like it's a real actual piece of paper. Or something like that. Anything that's virtual, even the Bitcoin, for example. Like when the brother was talking, he was saying you can have the Bitcoin right in your pocket. Well, not actually. Not really. Didn't we learn about when it comes to recording a statement of blasphemy? This is a slight digression, but I'm going to make a connection. If you wanted to record a statement of blasphemy, if you wanted to duplicate a file, if you wanted to record a DVD or a CD, duplicate it, or a cassette tape, and there's blasphemy on there. So this is the question, and this is what we have learned. So keep this in mind. If you had a file that if you were to open the file, blasphemy would appear on the screen. But you didn't open it, it's just the file. And then you duplicated that file, or you sent that file to someone by email. Did you duplicate blasphemy? Do you have to cite it and say, they say when you send the file? You don't. Why you don't have to? Because as long as the file isn't opened, then really there's no blasphemy there. The blasphemy only occurs when you open the file and then the blasphemy is now on your screen. Written, the words of blasphemy are written on your screen. Or you turn on the movie and then you hear the blasphemy coming out of the speaker. But before you press play, if you have a CD or a DVD, there's no blasphemy actually literally inside that DVD. Didn't we learn that? Yes, we did. But that's what I'm talking about here. This stuff about Bitcoin and all that. It's not really there. It's something else. Yani, someone might say, Bitcoin, look, it's something, somehow, I don't know. How are they mining the Bitcoin, making it up? Do you have to be a hacker or what? Where is it coming from? Whatever it is that they're selling to people. But there's something people said there's Bitcoin. So someone might say, yeah, but if you pay money for it, it could increase in value and then you can cash it in and get more money. Someone might say this Bitcoin, if you invest in it, it's an investment. You can put your money in, buy some Bitcoin, and then it'll increase in value and then you can pull the money out and have more money. Or it might decrease in value, it's possible, but it's an investment, and then you pull your money out and you have less money. It's an investment like any other investment. No, there's a difference here, which is this. You're not paying for anything. So someone might say, yes, you are, which is proven by the fact that you can get more money or less money. That's the proof that you're paying for something. My answer to that is no. Because what if I put my money in the bank? right? If I put my money in the bank on Monday and then I withdraw it on Monday, the same amount, did I buy anything? No, I did not. All I did was ask them to hold my money and then I pulled it back out, right? So what if I bought Bitcoin on Monday and cashed it in on Monday? If I bought $25 worth of Bitcoin on Monday and then cashed it in on Monday and get my $25 back, what's the difference between that and putting my money in the bank and pulling it back out? In this, so far, no difference. Except that in one case, you supposedly bought something. And in the other case, I just told the bank to hold my money for me. So someone will say, but what if you gain or lose? So what happens? What if I put my money in the bank and then when I pull my money out, it's worth less money now? It's worth less. The value of it has decreased. Like, what if I had Lebanese money and I put my Lebanese money in the bank? And then one day when I pulled my Lebanese money out of the bank, it was the same amount of money that I put in, but it's just not worth the same. So, did I buy anything? Did I make an investment? No. It's just that my money, the value of my money decreased. That's all. The value of it decreased. So, how come here, if I really bought something really, if there was really a true purchase here, how come it's exactly the same, except that in one case, supposedly I purchased something. I did a deal with someone who's supposedly selling me something. I gave him my money and he didn't really give me anything. And then if I want to cash in this imaginary stuff he gave me, I'll get my money back. So it's the same thing, except that in one case, I gave somebody my money for nothing. And in the other case, someone held my money. I didn't give it to him. I didn't buy anything from him. So you didn't buy anything, actually. Someone said to me, for example, okay, Bitcoin, it has a value because people gave it a value, like paper money has a value because people gave it a value, right? That's how someone argued with me about it. Not an argument, but, discussed it with me. But there's a difference here, which is that religiously, the paper has a religiously recognized benefit in the first place. Yani, it's paper, you can use it. You see what I'm saying? You can write on it. You can make it a bookmark. You can do something with it. Let me give you something else also. Religiously, there's some things that you can't own also. Some things religiously, you cannot own them. Like, for example, how some people own a baseball team. You can't own a baseball team or football team. Because you don't own the people. The team is the people. You don't own them. And maybe you own the uniforms. You don't even own the stadium. What do you own? So they'll say, we own the right to it or whatever. That's some stuff they made up. Religiously, though, you don't own the team. You don't own, like, copyright rules. They have made rules about copyright. He said, he owns the rights to this, so if you want to copy it, you have to pay him. So it's something, actually, that doesn't have a value religiously, and then they make people pay for it.
You own the contract to the baseball players.
You don't own a contract, and they have a contract also. When you do a contract, there's two people involved. So if you own the contract, they own the contract too, because they did the contract with you, right? This is like a sale. Everything goes back to a sale. The sale is your basic one, your basic contract. It requires two sides. So when I sell something to you, what I own becomes yours, what you own becomes mine, and that's it. We're done now. And we're equal also. We're equal. You don't have something over me. Even in a rental or a hiring, even though you might call someone a boss when you say he's hiring because he's paying the salary, but actually they are still equal, because the boss owes you something and you owe him something, whatever you all agreed on. So he said, I'm going to pay you $100 and you're going to paint this wall for me. Then, okay, he's the boss, technically, because he's paying you, but you're giving him something, he's giving you something. You're equal in that. And when the contract is done, the contract is done. So how did somebody become the owner of the baseball team? Someone makes beats, for example. So I'll sell you the beats. How are you going to sell him the beat? You can sell him a USB that might have information on it. So what are you selling him? The USB. Not the information on the USB. You can sell him the USB for however much you want. You say this information is valuable. Okay. Sell me the USB. If you want to buy Bitcoin, then brothers and sisters, if there's some type of apparatus that has a value, buy the apparatus. Don't buy the Bitcoin. If there's something like a USB that you can use it has a value religiously, buy that. Like, for example, we can't buy najasa, so we can't buy the rubbing alcohol when it's made from corn. Ether alcohol, ethanol, it's made from corn. That's the essence of khamr. It's najis, filth. You can't buy it, but you might need it. So what do? Buy the container, not the stuff inside, just the container. Tell them, give me the bottle. How much you want for the bottle? Sell me the bottle and give me the stuff inside for free. When you buy the horse manure for your farm, or any manure for your farm, you can't buy najis, but you need it. So buy the crate. How much you want for that horse manure? I want $50 a crate. All right, sell me the crate for $50 and give me the stuff inside for free. That's valid. I'm not going to say Bitcoin doesn't have any benefit. I'm not going to say it doesn't have a benefit. I'm not going to say it doesn't have a use. But don't buy something that doesn't have religiously recognized value. And don't also get involved in bay'ul gharar, which is the risky sale. Naha Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam an bay'il gharar. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he forbade the risky sale. That's the sale in which one or both parties don't know the outcome. That's one thing. But another thing I want to remind you about, brothers and sisters, is that physical money is superior. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The origin is for you to have something and someone else to have something, and then you exchange. It's not the origin for you not to have something and then you just swipe a card in front of someone and he actually physically gives you something and you walk away with it. That's not the origin. I thought about a little more about what the brother, I don't know if you're here or not, Sayyidi, who was talking with me about the Bitcoin. I thought more about some of the things that the brother had said, and I listened back to the recording. And there's some things that just be mindful. Like, one of the things that the brother mentioned was, he said, one of the benefits of Bitcoin is that it's not controlled by any government. What does that mean? What does that mean? I know what the words mean, but for me, don't get me wrong, I'm not speaking against the brother. And he wasn't even defending Bitcoin. He was just sharing with us what he knew. But it's not controlled by some government. I find it a fallacy personally. But if someone can help me, I'm glad to listen. Why I find it a fallacy? Because what does that mean to say it's not controlled by a government? If I have $5 in my pocket, then what does the government do with my $5 in my pocket? What does any government do with my $5 in my pocket? Yani, what does that mean? I find it fallacious. Fallacious, that means it's fallacy. It's not really straight, right, correct argument. And be mindful about having your own money, brothers and sisters. Be mindful about that. Don't feel very comfortable about dealing without money, because that's really what's happening here. People are dealing actually without money. So don't think it's a clever idea to eliminate money. Allah revealed the rules of money to Adam alayhi salatu wassalam. Adam, by the revelation, he taught his children how to make gold and silver coins, and he showed them how to sell and buy. They used to dig the gold and silver out of the ground in the days of Adam alayhi salatu wassalam and make money out of that and then deal with it. Don't think that it's clever, very clever, because one day maybe you're going to wish you had your money, your actual physical money. And Shaykh Abdullah rahimahullah, and I'm reminding myself, and Shaykh Abdullah rahimahullah ta'ala, he advises to keep your money home, not in the bank. He said, and if you were to say to some people, save your money, hold your own money in your house, and don't put your money in these banks, the people would say, we would be ruined if we did that. The Shaykh doesn't agree with that. To say, if we don't keep our money in the bank, we'll be ruined. Don't be so sure about that. MashaAllah ta'ala. What you call when things fail, you'll wish you had some golden and silver money. Me too. I wish I had some golden and silver money. Don't you see that Allah created that gold and silver to be precious? Allah created it like that. So that's money, gold and silver, and then other things are circulated like gold and silver. So I think it's settled then, brother. Thank you for that information. I think it's settled then. And correct me also if I'm wrong. I just want to say back what I'm understanding. That in order to even have access to Bitcoin, then for sure you have to have some sort of apparatus, right? Some sort of device. And it has to be operational, yes? I mean, it seems to make sense to me.
Just the apparatus comes in only if you want to take it offline. All you need is a computer via internet. So
Okay.
you really don't need an apparatus.
Okay.
On Bitcoin.
Okay. So if it's online, then it's a file that you can just, if it's online, what are you going to do with it? Just use it like credit?
Yeah, it's a piece of code that you could, use like money.
You said, I have a question about the machine. What if the owner of the machine is not around? How do we do the contract now? Well, there are two people you can do a contract with, brother Abdul Qawi. There are only two people you can do a contract with. Who are the only two people you can ever do a contract with? Tell me in 15. Anyone tell me. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Yes, the owner or the one who's given responsibility, meaning an authorized person. Those are the only two people you can ever do a deal with. Either it's the owner or someone who's authorized by the owner or who has some sort of authorization, like a judge. The owner might not authorize the judge, but he already has, as a judge, special powers. So either it's an owner or an authorized person. So if there's no one like that, you just can't even do the contract. You can't do it. It's clear? You said, according to another scholar, you can purchase from a machine. According to the Hanafis, you can deal with the kuffar in the kafir land as they deal. If you win, you don't lose. So that includes the machines. Like, you go to the terminal for the bus or the train. If you go to the window, you might have to pay $2.50. But if you go to the machine and buy the tokens, you might pay only $2 for a trip or less. So now you got the advantage now. You saved and they lost. But according to a Shafi'i, you wouldn't be able to do that at all. The only way you'd be able to do that according to a Shafi'i is to actually make a contract with the owner or an authorized person and say, I'm putting my money, this money of mine here into this machine of yours. And then when the item comes out, you accept it right there in front of the person and say, I accept this thing from your machine for the money that I put into your machine, and then he accepts too. Now that's valid. You said, for this saying of the Hanafi, I've heard it said in two ways. One way I hear is that if you benefit more than the kafir, the other I heard is if you benefit at all. No, you have to not benefit at all. There's always a benefit. That's the reason why the person is doing it. But you can't just benefit but you take the loss. Like, he gives you a loan and then you have a crazy mountain of riba you have to pay back. You lost, he won. You got put at the disadvantage. And that being said, if you want to be sure that you're winning and not losing, then don't put yourself in a deal where you're pulling money out of your pocket and putting it in their pocket and they're not giving you something back. You're not winning like that. Tayyib.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So when you're like, let's say the self, and there's a person who's searching, would that count?
When you're doing the self checkout and there's a person there?
Yes, like there's a person seeing it in the front, just watching.
Well, according to a Shafi'i, you would have to actually engage that person and say to that person, all this stuff here, you see it, look at all this stuff, because he can't sell it without seeing it. You see all this stuff here, I'm going to buy it for this money, this price. I'm going to put the money here inside the machine and take my change and take my stuff, or something like that, something that's valid, and then he accepts. But according to a Shafi'i, if he's just looking at you and he's not actually doing the deal with you, maybe he's just making sure you're not stealing or something, so then that's not enough. Other than a Shafi'i, then and they have a little more room to work with it. Tayyib. Let's say you're a trader, you've got a stand or you've got a business, you have a store, and your child comes and helps you. Now, if you wanted to follow a Shafi'i and your child didn't reach puberty, according to a Shafi'i, the child cannot deal. And you can't even permit him to deal. But when we say the child doesn't finalize the deal, that doesn't mean that the child can't actually physically be taking and giving the money. If you were there and then someone came up to the counter and your child was there at the counter and you said to the person, that costs such and such, and he accepted, and then the child took the money and put it, and you're there and you're witnessing that, supervising, and then the child gave him back his change and you're there supervising. So really he's doing the deal with you, not with the child. Although that child is the one who's giving and taking. Just like if someone wanted to buy from a machine, what do? According to a Shafi'i, you can't buy from a machine. So what do? Go to, for example, maybe you're a Muslim who has a bubblegum machine in his barber shop. It's not valid to merely put a quarter in the bubblegum machine and then take the bubblegum that comes down. So what do? You say to the owner, I'm going to buy some bubblegum from you, owner, from this machine with this quarter here. He says, okay, and then you put the quarter, and then you twist the thing, and then the bubblegum comes down. You say to him, this bubblegum, I'm buying it from you for the quarter that I put in your machine. He says, I accept, and then that's valid. Let me look at some of these questions here. Barakallahu fikum.
Yes, question.
Yeah.
All right, so when we go to a grocery store, and they have the checkout line where it's automated, there's no person.
Yeah.
All right. Let me start with that, Shay. We talked about this before. Just remind me again, because something else happened that made me actually forget a detail, me doubt about it. So what's the judgment on that?
According to Shafi'i, you cannot do the deal with a machine. What you could do, if you want to follow the Shafi'i school and use the machine, is do everything, get all the price and everything, and then before you verify it, get a worker and say, hey, you see this price here? I'm buying this from you guys for that. Because that's an authorized person to deal with these transactions. That person is authorized. They'll tell them, if the customer needs help, you put the money in there for them, give them their change back, all of that. So if you want to follow the Shafi'i school and use the self-checkout, the way to do it is just ring up all your stuff, and then before you put your money in, get somebody and say, I'm going to pay this much. And then they accept. And also they need to see your merchandise. I'm buying all this stuff here for this much here, and then they accept. So that's valid according to a Shafi'i. According to others, vending, same thing. It's the same thing for vending machine. Self-checkout is basically a vending machine. According to other than a Shafi'i, they don't need to see the stuff. And according to the Hanafis, if they are kuffar, then you can deal with them as they deal. Actually, that reminds me. It's brothers and sisters, according to the Hanafis, you can take the kafir's money with his acceptance. You can take his money with his acceptance. Here, I mentioned this mas'ala for you from, even though some people might take it the wrong way, but I'm going to mention it to you anyway for the sake of not withholding the knowledge. According to the Hanafis, you can, if you're a Muslim dealing with a kafir in a kafir country, not in a Muslim country. If you're dealing with a kafir in a kafir country, you can take the kafir's money with his acceptance. Even if you gambled him and beat him and took his money. A kafir in a kafir country. If you bet him knowing that you would win and then you won and he gave you his money, according to them, if he's a kafir in a kafir country, you can take his money. And according to them, you can deal with the kafir as the kafir deals in the kafir country. And according to them, you can do riba with the kafir in the kafir country if you win. If you win. If you get the profit, not the loss. So that helps a lot. Go ahead, brother. You got another question after that? You said, would that Hanafi judgment apply to Bitcoin? I don't know, because the Hanafis, they said, when you deal with the kafir, you have to win, not lose. So, if somebody came to you and said, oh, I got some nice Bitcoin for sale, log in here to this website, here and pay me now $50, log into this website, take this code, and that Bitcoin is all yours. I'm not sure that you won in that case. I personally don't think you did. Yeah. You can't be the loser according to them. Another question?
Hello, yeah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
I have a question. So you said according to the Hanafi school, you can deal with a kafir how he deals with children in a non-Muslim country.
Yeah.
So going back to the example of just like buying things like tickets or whatever, could you buy those tickets how he presented them to you or how he wanted you to buy them because you're in according to that Hanafi rule?
So you mean a paper ticket? Or you mean a virtual?
Yeah, like a virtual ticket.
Okay, because I'll ask you that because same thing when we were just talking about the Bitcoin. I would suggest, brothers and sisters, when things are virtual, you should maybe mention that. Just make it a point. A virtual ticket, a virtual coin, something like that, and or else you get confused. One person asked me a question, and I said to the person, "Okay, they didn't sell you anything, right? They didn't even sell you a piece of paper." So the person said, well, they can sell you the download and then you can print it out yourself. But that's your own paper. You didn't buy it. Yani, my point is, you don't want to get confused. What's real and what's not real? So when it's not real, if it's virtual, I would suggest call it a virtual coin, call it a virtual ticket, etc. So, is it valid to buy the virtual ticket according to the Hanafis since you're in a kafir country dealing with them as they deal? But are you winning though? Did you get the profit or did you get the loss? Because loss is like, for example, if you have $20 in your pocket and then you give that $20 to somebody else and now you don't have any money in your pocket and he didn't give you anything back. So how did you win? You see? Like in the literal sense, you have $20 in your pocket and you give it to somebody and he takes that and puts it in his pocket and doesn't give you something back. He won and you lost. So you need to be mindful that as the Muslim, you win. According to those Hanafis, you have to win. One example that they gave, by the way, a proof that they used, the Hanafis, is the story of the mother of Musa. The mother of Musa, alayhi salatu wassalam, she lost her baby, and then the Pharaoh and them found the baby, and then the baby wouldn't breastfeed, and then Musa's sister found him, and then she connected the Pharaoh's people with her mother, and they didn't know that was the baby's real mother. And then when the baby would breastfeed from her, they wanted to hire her to be his nanny. That's already her own son, right? It's already her own son. So they paid her and she took their money. Where this is not actually originally a valid contract. And there's other cases also, other examples. So they took their money out their pocket and put it in her pocket. She won. They lost. Subhanallah. You said, according to the Hanafis, can you use the automated machines without showing them the items or telling them the amount that you are paying? I don't know. But if you win, you can. If you win, you can. Like what? Like you go to the train place and they tell you, if you pay cash at the window with the human being, we'll charge you $2.50. And if you buy a token at the machine, we'll charge you $2. And those people are kuffar and you're in a kafir country, then you can go buy the token at the machine, save your 50 cents. So you win now and they lose. Was the Hanafi ruling on you getting money specifically? Yeah, they said, يَجُوزُ أَخْذُ مَالِهِ بِرِضَاهُ. It is permissible to take his money with his acceptance. I hear you can use their way of dealing, like buying from their vending machine, if you win, not if you lose. It's like the Hanafis are saying, what would be with a Muslim an invalid contract, you can do it with a kafir in a kafir country as long as you win. Is that a hadith? يَجُوزُ أَخْذُ مَالِهِمْ بِرِضَاهُمْ. That's not a hadith. That's what the Hanafis said, based on their evidence. Based on their evidence. They have other evidence. Like when Allah Ta'ala revealed in the Quran, غُلِبَتِ الرُّومُ. Rome was defeated. في أدنى الأرض وهم من بعد غلبهم سيغلبون. And then after they were defeated, they will win. في بضع سنين. In several years. So the kuffar said to Abu Bakr, you think the Romans will win? We'll bet you. So he made a wager with them. And then he went to the messenger of Allah and told him, And then the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, increase the wage and extend the duration. So he increased the wage and he extended the duration, and then time passed. And then Abu Bakr, he got a message came to him, come and take your winnings. And the Messenger of Allah allowed him to do so. So that's a proof for the Hanafis. The Shafi'is have their answer for that, but that's a proof for the Hanafis. Because they said, Abu Bakr at the time, he was in Mecca, and Mecca was the land of the kuffar. He was dealing with kuffar in the land of the kafir. He was dealing with the kafir in the land of the kafir. Because it's permissible to deal with the kafir in his land as he deals. But you have to win with the condition that you win. And they have other proof too.
ضايعين حال حال ونفس موت تشبع موت تشبع